Hey, thanks for clicking on my video. Today, we are going to talk about stoichiometry. So what is stoichiometry? The term sounds so confusing, and in actuality, it can be. Just like anything, just like any math, any science, your chemistry, bio, and physics, things can be very complicated if you're just beginning or you're getting stuck at a couple steps, or maybe you're just getting overwhelmed with the term because it sounds kind of scary. So I'm going to give you a couple tips and show you the way that I do it for basic stoichiometry, and the concept basically still applies for the stoichiometry you see going across the board, maybe you saw in high school, or maybe you see it in college now. Well, this is something you got to get down pat to pass even high school chemistry. So I'm going to show you what I do. The first thing you should do is get out your periodic table. That's very important. And if you at this point are not very familiar with the difference between grams and moles, please check out my previous video where I explain the differences and how they sort of combine in chemistry. So the first thing you want to do is sort of analyze what you have. Let's start with number 1, and then we'll go to 2 on the bottom. Let's not add more numbers to confuse anyone. So starting with number 1, you have 30 grams of carbon, right? That's what you're starting with. Somehow, with this variable, if you want to call it, you're going to end up getting moles. So how do you do that? In stoichiometry, I noticed the first thing you got to do is cross out what you have. So you want moles, but you only have grams. So you're going to cross out grams by putting it on the bottom. That's a bad G. So what is the molar mass of carbon? If you look at the periodic table, you will see it is about 12.011 grams per 1 mole. So let's just put 12 here for the sake of simplicity per 1 mole. One thing I also suggest is keeping track of your units, because that can definitely mess you up. So the way that you're doing this, you should have something that's able to cross out. So this grams should cross out with this grams. It's not going to be the same case if this 12 was up here. If this 12 was up here, you did something wrong because you cannot cross out the grams. They should be able to do like this, but that's not very neat. So basically, we're like 90% there. All you have to do is plug it into your calculator. So if you have your graphing calculator or your regular calculator, you can just plug in 30, and then because 1 is on the top, it's the numerator, you can just divide by 12, and you will get about 2.5 moles. So let's write 2.5. It's actually about 2.49, but it's basically the same thing. Make sure you label your moles so you know that you went from grams to moles. And that's basically how you do number 1. Let's see, so I'll clear my calculator. For number 2, I'll let you think about it for a little bit. Actually, you can go ahead and pause the video if you want to try it on your own. If not, let's go and do that one. So I'll grab my black pen. This time, we're starting off with moles. So the question is now, how do we get from 3 moles of carbon to grams? The question is, how many grams is in 3 moles of carbon? And, once you get more familiar with the periodic table and chemistry in general, you start to sort of understand how easy this calculation can be. And so there are, again, 12.011 grams per mole. And like I said in the beginning, you want to make sure you have the ability to cross out what you are starting with so that you can get what your final product is. So let's write that 12 up here. This time it's in the numerator, 12 grams per mole. Label everything. And so let's check, are we able to cross out what we don't want? Yes, we are. We can cross out moles. We can cross out moles. Again, it's just like crossing all the way through like that, but that's not very neat. So now you can plug it into your calculator. And this is 1 mole, by the way. So you can do 3 times 12. Or if you want to be more specific, they may ask you for a certain amount of significant figures, which is another video on its own. You can do 3 times 12.0 1, and that will give you about 36.3 grams. And so that's going to be your final answer. If you're more comfortable with plugging in like 1 in the numerator or the denominator, be my guest. Sometimes it's a little more complicated, but I do understand just wanting to be extra sure that what you're doing is correct. Either way, if you did this, this is correct. And this is the same way that you would do stoichiometry in your more advanced classes. And you can choose to do it all the way across your paper, or you can do it step by step. Just the general concept is, okay, what do I have? What do I want? And then what can I cross out from what I began with to get what I want? And that's what we did here. So I hope this video was helpful for you. I hope you can understand stoichiometry a little bit better. A lot of your Gen Chem classes will ask you questions like this. And thanks for stopping by. See you in the next video.